What's up, guys? Greetings from Houston, Texas. Mike coming at you from AT Astro, heir of Truth Aspect and Relationship Astrology. And today we're going to be going over, in this phenomenal astrological segment, a very widely known but very shallowly understood form of a relationship that we tend to notice in synastry and composite charts. The Plutonic themed relationship. Yes. We all know they're intense. We all know they're passionate. We all know that there's jealousy and possessiveness and possibly even obsessive. In fact, no, there's generally a lot of low-key obsessiveness if it's not completely overt relationship. It's not for the lighthearted, but most people will generally go through a Plutonic experience at some point in their life, especially if they have heavy Pluto in their chart, like moi. So Plutonic themed relationships can be easily spotted if you're looking over synastry and composite charts. If you're looking over the synastry chart, you just see if Pluto is making hard aspects to personal planets of the other individual. And many times you'll see it going both ways. But most of the time, from what I've noticed, you'll see one person assume the role of the Pluto person and one person assume the role of the planet person. And the Pluto person will have their Pluto in their chart, making hard aspects to the planet person's Sun, Mercury sometimes, Moon, Venus, or Mars. When those planets, because those are very, very personal planets, people feel the effects of those planets very strongly. When they're hit by such a powerful, deep, magnetic force such as Pluto, there's an attraction significant. There's an attraction almost immediately. However, Pluto doesn't really seem, this is from my observation, people really will disagree with this, but this is just from what I've seen. Pluto doesn't necessarily rear its ugly head until the relationship has really begun to get a footing. Like, for instance, my Venus is in Scorpio conjunct Pluto. A lot of people have their Pluto falling right on top of my Scorpio. Are they instantly attracted to me, or am I instantly attracted to them the minute I see them and all of a sudden Pluto starts to wreak its havoc? No, of course not. There has to be other factors that spark the relationship first. And then Pluto seeps its insidious self into the relationship. Also, hard synastry aspects with Pluto, they tend to get worked out over time. But when you see hard aspects in the synastry chart and you see that carry over to the composite chart, you're looking at a bit of an issue. So, in Greek mythology, Pluto, which is Hades, he was the lord of the underworld. Pluto represents that deep, dark part of all of us. That part that resists change, but at the same time craves it. That part of us that's afraid of loss, deep-seated fears of abandonment. The part of us the empty part in all of us that feels like we can sustain ourselves through sort of. It's like the vampire in all of us. So it's like where we go and we seek from another what it requires to sustain ourselves. And I am a Pluto dominant individual. I've been in many Plutonic relationships before, and when you get with somebody, you see these energies going back and forth, and it can come from both sides. Sometimes the Pluto person becomes, if they have Pluto very powerful in their chart, the Pluto person will jump right in, and they'll just want to grab that person and get that person, get them in a relationship, get them living with them, start providing for them, and get them locked in so that they have them. And then sometimes it's the planet person. The planet person will, the Pluto person will unlock this part of them, and they will definitely, they'll either feel very intimidated and confused by these very intense feelings and they'll bolt, or they'll just sink right in. And there's always that feeling like, well, maybe this is a little too much. Maybe I shouldn't be going in this direction, but you do it anyway. You pick up that phone, you start texting them, and it starts going. Well, it's very, very attractive and it's very passionate, and there is an amazing potential for emotional bonding. But for that true bonding to occur, there has to be a lot of bullshit purged from the relationship in the process. It's never easy. Plutonic relationships are never, ever easy. They can be very long-lasting. They can be very rewarding. But at the beginning stages, when Pluto is really starting to, show itself, it's not about love. It's not about love at all. Generally, you'll see this in relationships where, like, let's say it's a guy and a girl, and they get together, and that woman's got Plutonic issues, and she'll want to take this guy and lock him in, get them living together as quickly as possible. Anything that threatens her sense of security that man seemingly provides for her, and it can go both ways. The man can do it to the woman as well, but I'm just using it as an example. The woman will, not let that man hang out with his friends, or get upset and use subtle games and to get him to spend more time with her, or him just for her to spend more time with him. It just depends on how it's going. And usually the person playing the psychological tricks, and usually it is the Pluto person, because Pluto is such a subconscious, difficult to notice force within all of us. They'll play these manipulative games on the other individual to get them to do what they want. And it's all about power, and it's all about control, and it's all about satisfying this deep hunger within them that they feel that they can only get from another human being. And it's not about love. It's not at all. It's really not. It's all about, I'm using my love for you. Like, I'm doing this to you. I'm acting this way. I'm acting crazy. I'm acting jealous. I'm acting possessive because I love you. No, it's not necessarily because you love them. It's because you're terrified of losing them, because it disrupts and awakens this fear of loss within you. I've had to come to terms with this, and you can actually overcome this type of behavior if you have Pluto issues in your chart. It just takes a lot of self-awareness, and some people never get that far. Some people do, and it's very enlightening. But however, over time, as enough struggles occur between the two individuals, and enough of those issues are vomited up over time, usually through furious argument and just periods of the relationship almost completely falling apart and then getting back together, usually it lessens up a little bit. Unless it's just really, really, really heavy in the composite, and then that's just always going to be a theme. There's just something about the energies between the two of you that unleashes a Plutonic shitstorm. I must be very serious with that. There are occasions where you're not going to work them out, but many times you can. And even if it's strong in the synastry but not in the composite, the Plutonic issues are still going to come through. It's just, it is what it is. But you also have to look at each individual's temperament in regards to Pluto in their natal chart. Like somebody who has a lot of Plutonic issues, like they have a super heavy Scorpio stellium, and Pluto's all up in Scorpio too, so they got like 2 planets conjunct Pluto and Scorpio, and then like let's say they got Pluto making an opposition to Mars and Taurus. Like, no. They may say they don't like drama, they may say that they don't like that kind of shit, but they're subconsciously seeking out a way to purge those Plutonic issues from them in another partner. And it is interesting, but some people, you definitely just have to go through it. I've been through it. I've been to the depths of obsession. I've had people's Plutonic obsessions vomited up all over me, and it's not pretty. But like I said, it's something that can be tamed over time. And sometimes people will be involved in a heavy Plutonic relationship, and one individual will just get hit by a really heavy Pluto transit, and all of a sudden they'll sort of learn to let go of a lot of those subconscious desires to control the other individual, and things really can loosen up over time. So, I mean, there's always hope. The one pitfall that many people fall into is, however, thinking that because the relationship is so intense and because there's so much passion, and yes, platonic relationships, the sex is fucking incredible. I don't care what you say. Oh my God, especially with Moon Pluto aspects, the Moon square Pluto, Moon conjunct Pluto. Holy fuck. But people will trick themselves into believing that it's a soulmate connection because it's so intense. They're like, well, why am I feeling this way? Why does it hurt so much? Why does this hurt so much? Well, it must be meant to be, because if it wasn't meant to be, it wouldn't hurt. No, it's Pluto. It's not love, it's Pluto. So, I hope this was helpful. I do offer consultations. I'm also very, very well versed at helping people deal with platonic relationships, especially women who are handling very, very intense periods of their life as brought on by these types of relationships. So I do offer consultations. Feel free to message me. I'd be more than happy to set something up. Also, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I just got it set up. I have all my videos uploaded. It's not the prettiest, but it's going to get better. It's going to get nicer, and I'm going to keep adding more content. So thank you guys. Until next time.